All right, this is section 9.1, area of rectangles and triangles. So this should be a good review. So first we're going to go over when we did perimeter in our earlier unit, where we add up all the sides. So if I was going to find the perimeter of this rectangle, add the 9 plus the 9, which I know is on the other side, 18, to the 5 and the other 5 on this fourth side. I get my 28 centimeters. Well, now we're going to talk about area. So this is a rectangle, as you can see, with the 4 right angles. And so the area of a rectangle is just the base. Okay. So all you have to do is multiply the base of 9 times the height of 5 and get 45. And make sure you put centimeters squared, because area is the two-dimensional space inside of the shape. So it's two-dimensional. That's why centimeters squared. So that's your basic area of a rectangle. Area of a triangle. So first we did perimeter in the past, which again was adding up all the sides, 5 plus the 4 plus the 3 to get our 12 inches. So now we're doing area. Is the base times the height divided by 2. Sometimes you also see it written as 1/2 of the base times the height. Those both mean the same thing. You may use the formula, either one is fine to write down. So our base is 4, and our height is coming straight out of our base at a right angle, the 3. You won't use the 5, because if I was measuring myself, I'm going straight up and down. Right? I won't measure diagonally to measure my height. So I go 4 times 3 is 12. I have to take half of that, divided by 2. This is the part that people usually forget to do. So my area is 6 inches squared. The reason these are so similar is, if you think about it, a triangle really is half of a rectangle. There's in a rectangle that would have a base of 4 and a height of 3. So the area of that rectangle would be 12, but we want the triangle, which is half of it. So that's the basics of a rectangle and triangle area formula. So now let's try a little trickier problems than that. Now we're going to try some more challenging problems. So our first one over here isn't a rectangle anymore. This is actually a parallelogram. You can see the opposite sides are parallel to each other, but it's still the same formula. This formula works for any type of parallelogram. And in a second, I'm going to go over a chart for you to know all the different types of parallelograms. So that's the area formula for any type of the 10 plus the 5 plus the 10 plus the 5, and get our 30 centimeters. This 4 here would not be factored into our perimeter. But with our area, the 4 is important because our base is our 10. And again, remember what I said about the height. The height has to come straight out of the base at a right angle. So this 4 is coming out of that base of 10 at a right angle. So our area is 10 times 4, or 40 centimeters squared. The common mistake people do the 10 times the 4, remember the height has to come out at a 90-degree angle. I would make a note of that in your notes, that the height needs to come out at a right angle. Over here we have another triangle. So again, our perimeter, we would just add up the sides. We got the 5 inches, 4 inches, and the 8 inches. This 3 inches is not one of the sides of the triangle. It's actually there to help us out with the area, so we don't need it right now. So it's our 5 plus our 4 plus our 8, which is 17 inches. But now, as we get to the area, we have 5, and our height again is this straight up and down line. If I was measuring straight up and down the height of it, I wouldn't measure this 4 inches the height because it's at a diagonal. Same with the 8 inches, it's at a diagonal. The 3 is my height. So 3 times 5 is 15, and then what we have to do is take half of that. So half of that would be 7.5 inches squared. So here's our 2 slightly trickier examples. All right, the last piece I'm going to show you is I'm going to go into a chart that's going to show you some different types of parallelograms and how you can tell a quadrilateral falls into the parallel category or into the trapezoid category. All right, so we're going to look at the different types of quadrilaterals. There's 2 different ones we're going to talk about. So remember, quadrilaterals are 4-sided polygons. And going off of that initial 4-sided polygons, you can either have a trapezoid, which is to the right, and that means it has one set of parallel sides. So in our example here, the top and the bottom are parallel to each other. The other 2 sides are not parallel. So a trapezoid has one set of parallel sides. We're not going to be discussing a trapezoid today. That'll be more in tomorrow's lesson. So to the left side is what we're going to talk about today, parallelograms. A parallelogram is any shape where the opposite sides are parallel. So that means it has two sets of parallel sides. Both sides are parallel to each other. From a parallelogram, you can have a rhombus where all the sides are also congruent to each other, in addition to parallel. You could have a rectangle where all the angles are congruent, which means they'd all have to be 90 degrees. And then you can have a square, which is a combination of both, where all the sides are congruent and all the angles are congruent. So we're going to be talking about the area of parallelograms today, and that formula is just base times height for any type of parallelogram, whether it's a rhombus, a rectangle, a square, or just a regular parallelogram. Our area formula is with a word problem. So we have this word problem that says a carpet sells for $7. What is the cost of the carpet needed to cover a floor 12 feet by 27? So we're going to use our four-step plan. If you like drawing a picture, that's fine. Some people like drawing the room out 12 feet by 27 feet. Our variable, or unknown, is the cost of the carpet. Since it's $7 per foot, we need to know how many square feet this carpet is. So we know it's 12 by 27, so 12 by 27 will tell me how many feet the room is. And then I'll have to multiply that by 7 to get the cost of our carpet. So 12 by 27, just multiply that out, and we get 324 square feet for the room. And then multiply that by $7 for each square foot, and we get $2,768. We're looking for the cost of the carpet. And that's it. So pretty sure the biggest challenge is figuring out whether you're talking about a parallelogram or a triangle and setting up your equation.